We can take a look at some other functionalities. Okay. You have contacts. If you want to save a contact, contacts are people outside your organization that you would like to invite if you want them to have access to just certain services in your organization. You can just add them here. It's pretty easy. And you have options for guest users. Guest users are users outside the organization, but you want them to access more services, just like a normal user in your organization, but still at arm's length. You can add a guest user here. Okay, if you delete a user account, it will be visible under deleted users. All right. For teams, if you drop down, you would see groups. So in Microsoft 365, a team is also a group, right? Um, if you create a team, it's automatically creates a group. So they're the same, but they're kind of different because if you're looking at creating a Teams group, because Teams, as we mentioned, is a collaboration service which we're still going to look at. Um, and as I mentioned earlier as well, when creating an organization, it will automatically create a all company-wide group by default, which is this, where every user would automatically be added into. Okay, it's like a company-wide group that would automatically be created. We have a policies, options. This is for in-depth management. If you want to create certain policies or restrict some things or govern how your collaboration works, you can see it there. You have deleted groups, shared mailboxes, and all of that. I want to take us to billing because I told you earlier that when you buy when you subscribe for the E3 license trial and you want to cancel your subscription per se, this is where you can go. Okay, if you want to buy a new license, you can easily come here to get new licenses, right? You can see a ton of license that we have here. There's a business basic, business standard, apps for business, business premium, and all of that. If you want to try out maybe after your 1 month is expired and you want to get a different license, you can do that by simply uh, starting another trial. You can keep doing that as long as you can, but that's another way to just extend um, your learning process and how you want to use the trial. Okay, so we already purchased the trial license for E3 and it's under our products here. It automatically renews on the uh, 11th of next month. Okay, I think yes, because it's a 1 month license. So if you want to cancel auto renewal, I think you can cancel your auto renewal under recurring billing, as you can see here. So it automatically renews. So if you don't want them to remove the money from your account, you can turn off uh, automatically turn off your subscription. Okay. So if you click off, they will not automatically renew the trial once it ends. So this is the first thing you should do if you don't want them to remove any money from your account after a month. Okay. So turn off this automatic renewal so you don't get billed the next month cycle. All right. I'm gonna save. Okay, so I have turned off automatic renewal, and then we can go on to play around with our infrastructure here. All right, so one of the first things I would like us to do is create new users into the organization. So if you have a small company and you just hired a new employee, what we call an onboarding, right? If you just join a company, you see the IT team would come and say, hey, we need a new user account, new email, new this and new that, provision for a new user. And what does the IT do? This is what we do. So you can either use the simple add a user option here. Remember, you go to active users under the user option, and you would see add a user. Okay. Just click on add a user, and it will bring this up for you, right? Before that, I want to also explain that if you're more advanced and if you have multiple users joining the company at the same time, you can always add multiple users at the same time in bulk. Okay, how do you do that? You can put all the users in an Excel sheet and then add them into, um, or you can just do it this way, put the first name and last name and set it up this way. I think we can do this, all right? Let's do this instead of doing one at a time. Um, I'm just gonna create a random users, okay? You can do one at a time, but let's just use this for test because I want to create 5 users and it's faster. All right, so let's create a random users. All right, let's do Jane Doe and username Jane dot Doe and Jackson and Jackson. Put the Yoruba name here so you know that I'm hearing. uh, so you can just create a random users. This is all for test, remember. Uh, Blue Davids. Davids. So the username is pretty much what it's your email, what is in front of your email before the domain. Okay, so take note of that. I use this convention because this is a standard convention that that organizations use when creating a user. You use the first name and their last name for the emails, okay, or the email account, which is the first name dot their last name. It's a normal standard. It's a standard naming convention in organizations. All right. So that's 4 users, which is more than enough. We do next. We only have one license trial. Okay, so we automatically give them that. And here, if you want to restrict them from having access to certain services, you can do that very easily. Just click on the drop down and turn off whatever service that you don't want them to have. For instance, if I want to create all these users and I don't want them to have mailboxes, don't want them to have an email, right? All I need to do is uncheck this option. And once the users are provisioned, they won't have access to an email. This can easily be changed back later on by just going into the account and turning it on for them. Okay. But for this trial, we want them to have no boxes and everything. So we'll leave it as it is and we'll do next. Just do next and that as well. And wait until it creates the users for us. Okay. All right, that's good. Um, so it's gonna give us random passwords. Okay, it's gonna create it randomly for us, which is fine. We can always go to reset it or whatnot, but it doesn't matter. When you're onboarding a user, it will give you a random password, or you can set the password for the user and then send it to them. But that's by the way. So I'm gonna do close here. And then by the time we get back to active users, you would see that all the 4 users that I just created are available under active users. And they're all assigned the E3 licenses that I provided to you. Now remember, my account, which is admin, is the only one with an admin privilege, an admin a role, right? If you click on any of the user accounts that I just created, you will see that they do not have any administrator access because they are just the user. I am the admin. I'm the one who created their accounts. They do not need an admin access. They just need to be users. Okay. Another thing I want you to take note of is because I assigned them a license, it will automatically provision all the services for them, including email. All right. So here you would see that a mailbox has been created with the details, and yeah, you can see the details here of manage certain things. Okay, you can play around with this just to see what you can do, and also check documentations as to how all these options work and what you can do around it. Okay. Another thing I want to show us is since we got random password, okay, because I'm going to sign into one of these users and then user accounts, and then I'm going to show you what they see from the user's perspective. So when you join a new company and they give you a user account and password, I want you to see um, from the user's point of view what it actually looks like. All right. Okay, so now we have 4 user accounts fully provisioned. I'm going to reset the password of one so that we can sign in as that user and see from the user perspective what features they have available, what they can access, and how it looks on the user's end. Okay, because this is admin. Let's take note of that. This is admin. Okay, and we want to see now from the user's perspective and see what features are available to the user and what they can do. Okay, but before we do that, I also want us to, just as we have created a user accounts, I want us to create groups as well. Okay, so I'm going to go to active groups. The same way we added a user account, we're going to add a group or a team. All right. So we'll just click on add team, and this would be called the training users team. Okay. We do that. No need for that. We just do next. All right. Every group would have a uh, owner, someone who controls the group, just like a group admin, similarly to WhatsApp. Okay, you need an admin in the group. And in this case, I will just make myself an admin. I can either make anybody an admin. I can make any of the users an admin as well. It depends. All right. You know what? In this case, I will just make Ben an admin, and I click next. Remember, you can make multiple users an admin, just like in WhatsApp. It doesn't necessarily have to be one person. And then here you can choose members of that group that you want to be members of the group. So I'm going to select all the other users and myself to the group, and I'll say next. Now, every group would also have an email, okay? Which means it's an email, which means that if you send the mail to the group, every user would have access to it on the group, okay? So since the name is training users, we're going to keep it at training users at our domain. And we want the group to be public so anyone can join. If you want it to be a private group, if you choose the private option, it means that you um, only the people that you decide can join the group. Okay, which it makes sense because if you're in a company, you can create groups by department. So if you have a HR department, only the employees in the HR department will have access to that group, and vice versa. So you can do that. In this case, we just leave it at public. You can choose private; it doesn't matter, or you can play around with it and create a private group on your own time. So we choose public, and we do next. Nothing to change here, just a review of what you want to create, and we'll create a group or a team. Okay, good. Now that that is created, we will do close. All right, and we will see our group is here now. All right.